The lifestyle of an entrepreneur attracts some of the most free-thinking, innovative, and adventurous people in the world. People who crave the ability to pursue their interests and passions untethered by the restraints of a structured work week. The privileges are great, but so are the risks. Today, we're answering the question on every entrepreneur's mind. What are the most impactful pros and cons of entrepreneurship to consider in 2021? At the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an exclusive link to a really cool resource I've created to support you on your entrepreneurial journey so you can push through the cons of the entrepreneurship like a pro. Let's just dive right in right now with the top 5 pros and cons of entrepreneurship. Counting down, we'll start with number 5. The pro, you can make your own schedule. Con, a less structured schedule can mean less accountability. Yeah, this is a really big one, right? And it isn't even number 1. Entrepreneurs are free. That is the common perception anyway, isn't it? That once you don't work for someone else, then your time is your own. And you know what? Yeah, it's true for the most part. And it's pretty sweet. You see, there's a streak of rebellion, a certain edge that every entrepreneur has. An entrepreneur's mind is always searching. We are observant and curious. We know how to roll with the punches, and we don't like being told how to live. It's this rebellious quality that keeps us questioning the norms and uncovering exciting new innovations. We love our inner rebel, and we are proud of the way we resist being tethered to someone else's desk chair. We don't want to tame our inner rebel. But it's also a rebellious nature that can get us caught up in a poor time management, lower productivity levels, and lead us into the void of procrastination. But hey, there's a flip side to every coin, right? And while the upside is that there is no one telling you what time you have to be at work, the downside, no one is telling you what time you have to be at work. Our rebellious nature keeps us fresh, keeps us curious, and allows us to keep our cool, not take life too seriously. But where it can start to work against us, or where we stop taking ourselves seriously. That's the key. It can feel awesome to rebel against the cultural conditioning of having to work on a schedule that is determined by someone else, a superior. But when we start rebelling against the schedules we put in place for ourselves, that's when our entrepreneurial freedom stops feeling so free. If this sounds like you, or this is something you're currently experiencing, or even this is something you're concerned about happening to you in the future, then I suggest you immediately raise the stakes. Answer this question. What's your big why? It's not just to be successful, okay? Or merely to make money. Those things are nice, but they're just the byproducts of fulfilling your big why. When you take yourself seriously, there's no such thing as lowered accountability. Bottom line, you have an idea that will make millions of people's lives better. Are you just going to sit on it, get around to it tomorrow? Are you going to assume accountability for the happiness of these people who are going to leap at the opportunity to give you their money in exchange for their products or your services that you've created to help them live into their greater futures? How long are you willing to let these people wait? Not to mention yourself. The work of an entrepreneur is a labor of love. That's the real freedom you have as an entrepreneur. The freedom to love what you do and love how you do it. Yes, entrepreneurs are free to decide when they want to work and when they want to play. But any entrepreneur, such as yourself, who is determined to come out of nowhere in 2021 can tell you from experience that being free doesn't mean you have more free time. What it does mean, however, is that no one but you has the right to set a price for the value of your time. Take yourself seriously. And take your big why seriously. Entrepreneurs are experts in human happiness. And when you raise the stakes, it's not hard to see how that even though you may not have the answer to any one person, you are still meant to fulfill a calling that will ultimately better the lives of millions of people. So you just keep right on rebelling against those societal imposed norms. I want to hear your rebel yell. Just be aware that you're not rebelling against your own progress because millions of people are depending on you, even if you don't know them yet. What matters most right now, that you know it, and you know you do. You can feel it, or else you wouldn't be here. Moving on now to number 4, or just at number 4, the pro. You can bring meaning to your past. Con, you can't guarantee your future success. Oh, another big one, right? The big wins that come from taking big risks. Entrepreneurship is definitely not for the faint of heart, but when you stay the course, the ups and the downs, and you don't give up, and you realize every mistake is just a lesson for you to get better, everything that you've been through, everything that you put on the line, everything for better or for worse, that has ultimately led you to this calling, it will all have been worthwhile, truly. And the best part about bringing meaning like that to your past is that the things about your journey that seemed most difficult, the most painful, will become the stories that yield hope and inspiration to others and give them strength to persevere on their own brave quests towards a better life. And that's the mark of a truly great leader, someone who uses their experiences of their past pains or past struggles to help people leap over their pains and struggles quicker, more easily than them, to transform their futures. Ask anyone on the planet who's considered an overnight success, and they'll tell you that it's not true. And they really are an overnight success. Then it was the longest night of their lives, because their journey began several years ago, believe me. People called Pixar an overnight success, and the owner of Pixar, the one and only Steve Jobs, replied, if you look closely, most overnight successes took a long time. Where are you on your journey? Sometimes people spend years believing that they haven't begun yet, only to find out later that they were actually right in the middle, always moving along, baby steps, baby steps. You risk a lot as an entrepreneur. You take a lot of risks with no guarantees. You risk your money and often other people's money as well. In a lot of cases, you risk your reputation. You risk being called crazy by your peers. You risk the comfort and safety of a guaranteed paycheck, benefits. And there will always be people who will see you taking these risks and say, why would anyone want to do that? They will say that about you. But then they'll go back to their lives that are filled with wall-to-wall innovations all over the place that make their lives easier, better, safer, more comfortable, more enjoyable, more interesting, more everything. Innovations that flat out would not exist without entrepreneurs just like you, who also got called crazy just like you. So you can't pay much attention to people who don't have the entrepreneurial spirit and what they have to say about the risks you're taking. Not everyone has the gumption to step off the beaten path. Yes, there will be low points, but there will be high points. And these can be so rewarding in an entrepreneur's mind that they are able to weigh the risks and say, why would anyone not want to at least try? Why would anyone not do this? And the rewards are great. The incredible impact you can make on entire communities, the opportunities you can create for not only your future, but for your loved ones as well, the freedom to be the only one who determines your worth. But there is no guarantee of success. All you know for sure is that you're really going to need to work really smart. And you're going to learn a lot of things along the way that you didn't know. Trust that. It's enough. And trust that your efforts are leading you where you want to go, because they always are. And be willing to pivot, to change strategies when the new information creates new possibilities for you, new opportunities for you. Because when you are blazing your own trail, you just don't know what's waiting around the next bend. Actually, you know what? Here's one thing, one guarantee that you have as a brave entrepreneur. Every day will present new, exciting challenges. Every day you will get to draw from the experiences of your past to help you solve those challenges. And every time you successfully overcome a new challenge, you will bring meaning to your past and create a new opportunity for your future. And that's the real truth about the path of an entrepreneur. We do it by overcoming one challenge over the next, and we do it because we can. Which brings us to number 3, pro, self-determined paycheck. Con, unreliable income. This one may be number 3 on our list, but for many who refuse the call to strike out on the entrepreneurial journey of their own, this is often the first excuse they make, the first fear they encounter, that quote-unquote unreliable income. I'm not saying it isn't a legit concern, because we do need money, we like money, and we want to attract money. It really does come down to weighing the pros and cons with this one, doesn't it? Because while it's very comforting to know what you can expect to have coming in every month, an entrepreneur has to reflect on what's working towards someone else's goal. Is it really, and what it's really costing them? Is it costing them their own dream? Is it costing them having to always wonder what they might have happened if they'd taken a chance to bet on themselves, like people do in their cubicles every day? How much is that worth to you? Having a steady income certainly helps with being able to budget, being able to plan, being able to feel like you got everything in its row, a little security there. But an entrepreneur has that gut feeling that they could be sitting on a gold mine, and they aren't satisfied with living their life to accommodate someone else's dream. Jim Carrey gave a speech at a college graduation ceremony, I don't know if you saw this, where he told a story about his father. A man who, in Jim Carrey's opinion, was actually more talented, more funny, even more gifted in physical comedy than Jim himself, the king of physical comedy. But Jim's dad never bet on himself because he always had a steady job, a family to support, a mortgage to pay off. And he was putting in his time at one corporation, walking the line, doing the deal, figured it out, would pay off in the end somehow. Well, this corporation that his dad had invested 20 odd years of his life into, doing a job his dad never even enjoyed, one year this company decides to lay off a bunch of their long timers who were at a higher pay grade. Jim's dad was one of them. Whenever I coach clients who come up against this fear of betting on themselves, I always think about something Jim said to that class of graduates. He said, I learned many great lessons from my father. Not the least of which is that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on what you love. And that is the perfect segue to number 2 on our list. Pro, you get to love what you do, working on your dream instead of someone else's. Con, the stakes are much higher because now your heart is involved. You ever notice how the stakes go sky high once your heart is involved? It's the difference between overhearing gossip about someone you don't know very well and overhearing someone talk trash about your best friend. Big difference, right? It's the difference between a first date with someone you just met and the moment you realize, this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. As an entrepreneur, you get to love what you do. But love itself comes with certain risks, doesn't it? When we truly love someone, we can feel it. We can feel very vulnerable. Because now the person has the ability to hurt us. The stakes get raised because we don't want to lose what we love. This is when the fear of failure starts to bubble up and we start projecting images of all the worst case scenarios, and the voice of that imposter syndrome we all suffer from starts to speak up. It says things like, who do you think you are? What makes you think you're so special? What makes you think, your ideas are so different, so great? It tries to protect us from threats that might not even exist by scaring us into keeping our lives small. Anywhere in life where we find the opportunity to experience great love, we'll also find the occasional dance with great fear. But we love anyway, because what else are we going to do? The fear will come and go. Love endures. Fear can steal us away for a moment, but love has the ability to sustain us for a lifetime. Entrepreneurs are courageous. Maybe we don't hear that enough, but it takes the heart of a child, the grit of a warrior, to muster up the amount of love, self-belief, and determination it takes to set out as an entrepreneur to start with. But hey, if it were easy, everyone would do it, right? And now here we are at number 1, and you already know it's going to be a whopper. Pro, everything you do matters. Con, everything you do matters. Okay, so talk about the flip side of the same coin. As an entrepreneur, everything you do from the moment you wake up every single day can take you either one step closer or one step back. And I don't just mean everything you do to develop your innovation, like build your brand and launch your business. I'm also talking about everything you do to take care of yourself. How you treat yourself, how you manage your time, how you manage your mind, how you feed your body, what you feed your soul, the things you do to replenish your energy, the things you do to improve your stamina. This truth is exciting because you are now the master of your own destiny, but it can also feel like a lot of pressure. Once you launch your innovation, everything you do will reflect on the integrity of your product or service. Everything you do is an indication to your team members of how you want your business to be represented. Once your business begins to generate revenue, it is you now who has people using their time to realize your dream. Everything you do can either help them realize their big whys or hinder their motivation to show up and do their best. As a leader, you will have the opportunity to leave winners in your wake, and that is an incredible contribution to your community, any way you slice it. You also have the option to build a wall of money around you and pay very little attention to the big whys of the community of your company. Most of us have either worked for or with CEOs or founders who operate on each end of this spectrum. So you know what I'm talking about. My dad always told me when I was younger, privilege comes with responsibility. At the time, he was talking about getting to stay out late with my friends or driving my first car. The consequences of misusing these privileges would be to have them taken away. As an adult, the privileges of entrepreneur involve taking creative control of your destiny, building a community upon the promise of a greater future. And once again, that freedom, creating that total autonomy that so many people don't dare dream of. The consequences of misusing these privileges are often not as swift as my dad would be when it comes to having them taken away. As adults, we can get away with it for a little while, but not forever. As an entrepreneur, everything you do matters, and every single day you have the opportunity to move yourself, your business, and eventually your entire brand community closer on the path towards that greater future. It's a lot of responsibility, but the rewards for answering the call, living into your values and ethics, treating yourself with kindness, treating your body with respect, and giving your $1 million idea a solid foundation to develop like a hometown that rewards will be better than you can imagine. It will be a freedom that is only enjoyed by those who dared to follow their gut, follow their inspiration, and take big risks with zero guarantees. Those who dared to bet on themselves and didn't give up. Wherever you are in your journey towards entrepreneurial success, I wish you this kind of freedom. I'm here for you if you need any help along the way. As promised, don't forget to take advantage of the access I'm giving you to a branding tool that will actually be able to leverage towards your success right away. I had that link in the description for you. And if you're catching this on Insight, you can find it in my bio. As Aristotle observed, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It's a step closer to a greater future, and that's my big why for every piece of content I release. For it to serve you as one of the things that you can do every day to bring you closer to realizing your big why, your greater future. After all, the only success in 2021, in any year, is shared success. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to click the bell so you don't miss a single thing. I release new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so keep treating these episodes as your personal masterclass for becoming an inspiration to millions with branding. And as always, the way to become an inspiration to millions starts with our motto: love what you do and love how you do it. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.